Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss Terminator Genisys, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Jason Clarke, Emilia Clarke, no relationship there whatsoever, Jai Courtney, Byung-Hun Lee, J.K. Simmons, and Matt Smith, and directed by Alan Taylor, Thor the Dark World director, I know. And I'm going to get into some things into this review that I'm not too thrilled about. Let's get into it, and then I'll show you what I mean. As a child, Kyle Reese was born up after Judgment Day, and we start with everyone blowing up in 1997, and next thing you know, we see him as a kid getting saved by John Connor, played by Jason Clarke, from a Terminator, and we pick up in 2029 when the war is almost over, and they lead to a fight to stop the Terminators. And Jason Clarke is John Connor. It is honestly looking very ugly. And Jai Courtney is Kyle Reese. Doesn't fit well with what Michael Biehn had as the character. Meanwhile, they sent the Terminator T-800 Model 101 back to 1984 to kill Sarah Connor, played by Emilia Clarke, whom at the time was known for this TV show. But after this movie, she's someone I would also know from a movie I reviewed. But here as Sarah Connor, she comes off very one-note and very flat. When Kyle goes back to 1984, a Skynet robot named Alex, played by Doctor Who himself, Matt Smith. And what is he doing here other than playing a bad guy? I wonder. But Kyle is in 1984. Meanwhile, a 1984 Arnold, bad CGI look-alike, fights the real Arnold named Pops. And I'm going to just laugh every time I say this. And that killed me with laughter when I first saw this. And Sarah shoots the fake Arnold down. And reminded me, how did she find Kyle at a store while finding the T-1000? And I thought we were in the second film. Honestly, that screwed me up big time and in my head, because the T-1000 didn't show up until 1991. And the fact that in the trailer it shows Sarah teams with Arnold or as Pops made me angry and feared this movie coming out. The CGI looks really fake compared to 1991 when James Cameron did it much better, particularly since the T-1000 versus all of the rest of the effects, and this is a very poorly made film right off the bat, and Robert Patrick is a better T-1000 than Byung-Hun Lee, which is a real shame because I wanted to like him. Emilia Clarke and Jai Courtney have no chemistry and no charisma whatsoever either. Sarah and Kyle go to the future of 2017, where Pops is older as they get taken to the hospital and find a man Kyle saved 33 years earlier, version of O'Brien, played by J.K. Simmons, and his character is completely useless. Even a younger version of him is very useless. And John goes to the room where his parents are held and greet, and something was never told to Kyle that he was the father, and Pop shoots John, and we see what the trailer told us. Just goddamn it, I can't believe they did this. John Connor is a goddamn Terminator, and like Alan Taylor, the director, I was very upset that the trailer told me John Connor is a Terminator and a bad guy, and that pissed me off. Pops, Kyle, and Sarah go to a hidden place on top of San Francisco, where they prepare to gun up to fight robot John Connor as he finds them, and we get an action sequence with bad CGI when they're on the bus, and John takes Pops underneath the bus and rolls in a police car, which, it looks so fake. And they get arrested, and Bad Boys plays in the background as they're getting arrested. And Pops' mugshot as he smiles is really freaking corny, like, oh my god. While being held captive by the cops, Pops sees through the glass and attacks John disguised as one of the cops, and O'Brien is there and lets them go to save the world. Kyle, Sarah, and Pops get into the chopper, as Kyle flies it and they have a chase until Pop says, "I'll be back." And the definition this time is he puts a helicopter down, and I had fun with that callback. In the chase sequence, Sarah and Kyle enter Cyberdyne as Pops throws a spear and just says John Connor talks too much. And they plant bombs all over, and John comes in and captures Sarah and hold her hostage. And Pops can't self-sacrifice Sarah and hands Kyle the detonator. And Pops versus John Connor is a brutal robot versus robot fight. And Sarah and Kyle gets trapped and break the glass to get to Pops as he faints for a few minutes and gets an upgrade. And they talk to a very young Kyle Reese, who we saw earlier in the movie, at the police station outside of his place and telling him about the future, which will never happen. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 2.9 out of 10. I did like the final battle at the end, but other than that, they tried to erase 3 and Salvation, but failed miserably, I must say. The CGI looks really bad, the characters were not relatable, and Kyle and Sarah had no chemistry and charisma whatsoever. And like the last one, it's rated PG-13 of robots fighting robots, as the first 3 were R-rated with the next one, and I hope they improve the franchise with the next one. I'm not going to lie to you, I really am. So I will be back next week with Terminator Dark Fate, and until next time, I'll be back.